Check, check. All right. Welcome, everyone. The stream is on. We're ready to start here on site in Helsinki. Welcome to this event, AI for Saas. This is the first event in a series of 3 events where we will cover different aspects of building an AI native SaaS product. And by AI native, we mean a product that is tightly integrated so that AI is a first-class citizen of your solution. It's considered in all aspects of your product's architecture, user experience, the whole package. This event is organized by Softlandia, Software Finland, and Vendep Capital together. So my name is Mikko Lehtimäki. I'm with Softlandia. We are an AI-focused consulting house, and we also run a venture studio where we develop our own ideas into AI products. We have offices in Tampere and Helsinki here in Finland, and in Austin in the US. Our team is here on site. So my name is Mikko. Matti is handling the technology. Ada is over there recording the event on site. Back there is Ilmo, our CEO. He will be facilitating the discussions later today. And Toni is also here, still downstairs, but he'll join us soon here. So the primary reason we thought this would be a very interesting series of events to throw is that we often get asked, how do we keep up with the fast-paced developments in AI? And it's a lot of work, to tell the truth, but there is like a couple of approaches we use and like fundamental methods that we utilize to keep track of everything. We are contributing a lot to different open source libraries, which are like typically where the state-of-the-art development happens with AI. So the community aspect is very, very strong. You've probably heard of libraries like Llama Index or Quadrant if you're building AI-powered applications, and the open source community is very helpful for learning about these new technologies. Another key thing is networking with people who are looking to apply novel technologies and to learn about novel technologies. We need to simply try them out, see what works, what doesn't, share the lessons learned with our network and learn that way. We publish a lot of our lessons in our blog. There's a lot of open code in our GitHub. You can check those out. And we find this to be a really, really useful method for figuring out how to build with new technologies. And with this series of events, we're also looking to learn together with you to hear how your experiences have been with applying AI, if there are any like pain points or what have you found to be great successes. We're very interested in hearing that, and we'll share our experiences here as well. Some practical issues. So we are going to start the talks quite soon, but we'll first have a short greeting from Software Finland and then from Vendep. After each talk, we will have a short moment for questions from the audience. I will carry the microphone when you raise your hand. And then once we're done with the talks, there's more time for conversation and networking with snacks. Ilmo will be facilitating some discussion topics here on site as well. I will tell you more about that after we've heard from Sasa and Sami. We are recording this event, so if you do not want to appear on the recordings, please let Ada know, so we'll take that into consideration. And like said, this will be a series of a couple of events. You can already sign up for the next one if you scan the QR code shown here on screen. And if you're remote, you can use the Google Meet Q&A feature to send your questions. We received a lot of topics in advance that are interesting for the audience. And these are some that we will try to cover today in the talks and in the conversations. I won't go through the list, but there's a lot of interest in figuring out the first steps, choosing the correct technologies and the methods of working when implementing AI, and we hope that you'll learn about those today. There's also a big list of topics that we're saving for follow-up events. And some of these are also going to be covered in different AI-themed events. For example, March 25th, there will be an event by Software Finland covering the AI pricing and cost. So if that interests you, you can sign up for that. If there's a topic that you're especially keen to learn about, please let us know so we can take that into consideration when we plan the following events. All right, that's pretty much all I'm going to say. I'd like to now welcome Timo from Vendep to say a couple of words, and Rasmus can take the stage after Timo.
Thank you, Mikko. So hi, everybody. My name is Timo Felin, as said, from Vendep Capital. And we're a B2B SaaS fund, if you don't happen to know us already by now. And we like all kinds of SaaS companies, AI native or not. And my colleague is over here as well, marketing and platform director Taru over there at the back. So you can say hi to her as well if you want to talk to us. But I remember when we were talking with Ilmo Lounasmaa from Softlandia in our side event on kind of the topic that we're talking today and why we joined as a sponsor today. We were talking how many SaaS companies are kind of wondering on how to integrate AI capabilities, how to integrate AI into their products so that it would actually make an impact into their business, into the lives of their customers, and in a scalable way. So that's already many things that you need to consider. I really hope that we're going to get some answers to those questions today. There's a couple of our portfolio companies here today represented. So Zoind and Happy Signals are both in our portfolio, and then we have a couple more over here. But really happy to be here, and hopefully we'll get a lot of learnings from this. And after the event, we have as I understood, an opportunity to network, and I guess there will be a separate table for investor-related questions around AI. So happy to be on the receiving end of those. So excited to be here, and thank you.
Thank you, Timo. All right. Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Rasmus, and I'm the driving force behind Software Finland. Software Finland is a network of 600 software companies and approximately 2,000 executives from these companies. One of those companies being Softlandia, for instance. And then today I'm here. I'm going to give you a few information bits and pieces from a study we've done together with the University of Jyväskylä on AI. It has not been published, so take it with a grain of salt and so on. But I got the first draft of the information. But before that, I would like to introduce, we have an AI club inside Software Finland. And the leader is Petri Aukia. Could you stand up? Yes, Petri. So if you have any question about Software Finland as an association, about the AI club, what we do, and so on, Petri is here for that. But now a few tidbits from Jyväskylä University study. As said, it has not been yet published, but a few bits from there. 70% of all the companies that answered said that they actually are investing into AI. That's probably not a surprise. We had 430 companies answering, so it's quite a good bunch of them. But 70% is investing in one way or another. Then we asked a little bit about what they're using today. Well, not surprisingly, 93% of the companies are using AI, but only 29 use some other AI than Gen AIs, like ChatGPT and so on. And that's very interesting. What do these 29% do? And from there, we have about 18% that fine-tune other AI models. So AI models from other companies, other providers, they do the fine-tuning, and only about 11% develop their own AI models. I understand this quite well. It's probably a heck of a job to start developing your AI models, but fine-tuning other companies' AI models might be more in the future for most of us. Then I'll just end up by saying we also asked about when you invest in AI, at the moment, the 70%, what are you looking to get out of it? Of those people who answered, those companies, 70% says they're enhancing their own productivity. So things that really enhance making it internally. I think it's a very typical Finnish answer. What do we use it? Well, we get more productivity. And 50% said that, well, we're going to also use it for getting new features. Okay, that's a little bit better. 40% said that, well, we're going to use AI to develop new services. That's already more interesting for Timo and Vendep guys, probably, and girls. New markets, 15%, and then 15% also said that they are innovating new business models. And this is something I would love to have you all thinking about. Only 15% of those 70% that are investing are thinking that they will get new business model innovations out of it. And I'm quite sure that if you ask Timo and the people from Vendep, this is probably the most interesting use of AI. And I think this is something that everybody should look into, even though the classical version of enhancing your productivity is number one. From Software Finland's side, thank you very much to all the organizers, and we'll probably have one great evening today. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Rasmus. Thank you, Timo. With that, I think we're ready to welcome Sasa here on stage. So Sasa is the CEO of Joint. Let's see what they are building.
Okay, let's see if this works. I guess it does. Okay, all good. So yeah, I'm Saas March and I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Joint. And in this Joint case study kind of presentation, I'll go through what we have been doing on our way to kind of become an AI native SaaS company. And here's a bit of the agenda that you can hopefully see there, although actually you cannot. This is interesting. Let's see. I'll just share again. So let's see if it starts going okay. Okay, this looks much better. So you all see the agenda as well. So yeah, I will talk about a bit about our journey, and then I would like to highlight a bit also the kind of difference between vertical and horizontal SaaS, because I think that's a very important topic when it comes to also building like AI native applications, and briefly discuss a bit about kind of what we are actually doing with Gen AI and why it quite often might be a good idea to be not just another AI wrapper, although you can, of course, probably make a successful business out of AI wrappers as well, but we have taken a bit different route in our business. And then talking a bit about like what I see as the kind of unfair advantage of Gen AI powered applications. In our case, I use this kind of data analyst example. And then in the end, still going through 10 lessons learned from these experiments and proof of concepts that we have been doing. So what we do is basically serve retail and restaurant chains with this kind of plug and play analytics solution. And you can see some of the logos there on the screen that are our customers. And when now going into this kind of like a AI native SaaS, what that really means in practice for us is currently solving things like text to SQL problems and those kind of things. So we're basically trying to build like a next level of self-service business intelligence. So basically for business users like restaurant or retail store managers, they need an easy way how to basically access their business data and make better decisions. So in the traditional tools, you have had to learn quite complicated tools like our traditional competitors are companies like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau or Click and so on. And of course, the world has been moving more towards like self-service business intelligence. But what has been missing is kind of the very easy natural language-based view, how you can just like ask directly about your own data and kind of let, in our case, our data analyst said basically create those reports for you. And what I said about the kind of vertical SaaS versus horizontal SaaS, just wanted to briefly show this slide because I think this still holds true in the whole like AI SaaS space. So the kind of value proposal in a way in a lot of the vertical SaaS is that you can take some vertical, like in our case, retail and restaurant, and build something just works out of the box. Like in our case, this kind of plug and play analytics versus kind of going with some horizontal SaaS solution like Power BI, where you actually have to do this like traditional business intelligence IT project. So with vertical SaaS, you can do things like get everything up and running in under 24 hours and have like 30-day free trials and this kind of stuff, versus the kind of long IT project route with a lot of the horizontal SaaS products, as you can see here. And then coming into this topic of not just being another AI wrapper, so what are like the typical elements that you would see in many of the tools that are not just those AI wrappers? So first of all, of course, you have to have access to some proprietary business domain data if possible. So this doesn't have to be like relational databases. It could be, of course, also like unstructured data like documents or email or whatever. But it has to be something that like a ChatGPT cannot access just like that. So it needs to be like something that is a like competitive advantage for you. And quite often when you deal with a lot of data, you actually have to build all kind of backend stuff, like in our case, like a high performance data management platform. You have to have like data integrations and like data storage and fast query performance and so on. We, for example, ended up developing our own like ETL client to have the kind of performance that we wanted. And then I think it definitely helps if you're working in vertical SaaS and have all that business domain knowledge. So you can have like best practice stuff, like in our case, like KPIs, reports, and dashboards out of the box. And then when we move to the kind of whole AI native part, I think a lot of companies will face the need to have some kind of like a semantic metadata layers, not just in business intelligence, but somehow you need to have basically like data about data and descriptions about data, in the sense that you can basically get things like text to SQL working. So you need to have that kind of like a vertical specialization at the moment that you can build stuff that just works out of the box. And in our case, it's this Gen AI powered data analyst that we can also use for root cause analysis. And then, of course, going forward, it will be also about like providing recommendations and even automating whole processes, because that's, I guess, at the moment where the investors interest is, that you can basically have applications that fully even automate certain business processes or workflows. So I think in many areas we are not there yet technically, that we could, for example, let let's say restaurant owner just run the whole business with Gen AI agents. I mean, they still kind of need to be involved, and they still need to become like a traditional user interfaces. So I don't believe like UI and UX is like dying right away. We are still designing this software for real people at the moment. But of course, when automation capabilities will advance, I mean, the AI agents will not need this kind of like a user interfaces as you see here. But on the other hand, for example, our SaaS solution, the UI UX part is just the very like top of the iceberg. So all the hard work is there in the backend, like having the access to data through APIs, having those data warehousing procedures and tools working, having the vertical business domain knowledge, having solved the text to SQL problem in the specific like vertical, and then providing like this root cause analysis and so on. And only the kind of maybe Gen AI powered data visualization need would kind of drop at some point if the agents can do everything, as they wouldn't like obviously need similar kind of user interfaces. And if we think about the kind of what is the unfair advantage going further, here on the left side of the screen, you can see like the traditional data analyst there behind the desk, and people are queuing with their reporting requirements, and things get delayed. And by the time the analyst has provided that report that the business user was asking for, maybe the business need already passed. Versus then our idea of what it can be basically. So it's, in my opinion, like three different things. So it's about the availability and the cost and the performance. So with these kind of AI agents, you can of course have like a 24/7 availability for every single business user. So everybody has like all the time access to their own data analyst. Then about the cost, I mean, everybody knows that the cost of these kind of solutions is going down all the time. So compared to that, like a minimum 40 euro per hour salary to that human data analyst, I mean, you can deploy like hundreds and hundreds of agents at the same time, serving all the different business users. And it's also about the kind of possibility to work in parallel when you actually analyze the data. So one of these like agent instances can, for example, run 100 SQL queries at the same time. basically analyzing huge amount of data in a few seconds, and maybe at the same time they are also doing like web searches and looking stuff from unstructured documents, whereas one human can do like one thing at a time, not like 1,000 things at the same time as these agents can. And then in the end, going through the kind of 10 lessons learned. So I'll start with the group I call technology-related lessons learned. So I can only, of course, speak on our behalf, and not everybody like AI SaaS solution is similar. But in our case, I would say that we continued too long with this kind of like Gen AI software frameworks. In our case, it was called LangChain, and it was nice in the beginning to start. But I mean, in the long run, it just simply doesn't work for like a scalable production solution where you have to think about performance of this application and so on. So in practice, we spent like December now, like getting rid of LangChain everywhere in our architecture. So time well spent. But thank you, Softlandia, for helping us do that. And then the second one is about the high accuracy RAG implementations are challenging. I won't go into the details, but for example, my background is not so technical. I don't have that kind of like a very strong engineering background. So I was, for example, too naive to think that, I mean, how easy it is to ask like from ChatGPT stuff, and then you just put your own proprietary stuff there, like access to relational databases and your own documents, and it just works. And bloody hell, it just doesn't really work very easily. It takes a lot of effort to get it working. Then implementing fine-tuning, something that I don't know yet whether it has been the right solution for us or not, but we have gone that way. And of course, just have to understand then the compromise that the kind of speed of implementing things and experimenting slows down. And then the last one of the technology part that I think evals are kind of mandatory to have. So if you are trying to build like a real SaaS product, I mean, you cannot base it just on intuition that if you change something, does it actually like become better or worse? You need some structure in that. On the UX side, the first learning is not that much Gen AI specific, but I would say that the Gen AI brings some new opportunities how to provide like proactive insights and anticipate user needs. So it's not a new stuff, but I think we have now novel new ways how to kind of delight the user in the UX. Then text and speech as input and output have really their own specific use cases, and we haven't really tested, of course, everything, but based on interviews with customers and so on, we see in our industry quite a lot of interest in, for example, like a voice inputs. And I think it's good to keep in mind that an average person like speaks 3 times as fast as they type. So from this Finnish optimization point of view. And then also, I mean, the other way around, basically people read like 2 times as fast as they listen. So in a way, like the Finnish optimization thing would be that you can speak and then you read the answer if you want to optimize. But it's more maybe in our niche, for example, about those use cases that if a person is inside a, let's say, restaurant kitchen, they have their hands full. I think like a voice as input is probably the way to go in those kind of circumstances if they need some information quickly. And then addressing latency becomes a key consideration. This is about the kind of performance of these kind of applications. I mean, before implementing these kind of like a Gen AI features, like 90% of the time our users got their dashboards and reports in under 1 second visible to them by the time they hit refresh and seeing the results. Now implementing like these new steps, you introduce all kind of complexity where you check user intent and do checks here and there. And suddenly that 1 second has turned into like between 5 to 10 seconds. So we need to work on that, but it's good to keep in mind that you kind of inherently introduce a lot of latency when you start taking these kind of techniques in use. Then the last ones I think this existing SaaS product provides an excellent kickstart for anybody thinking about going like this AI native route. So it's, I think, much easier to start with something you already have than totally start from scratch. The second point is about focus on systems thinking. So what I mean with that is quite often people just talk about the latest like large language model versions, what has been introduced by whom and so on. But if you think about this kind of solution, like for example, we have, it's a very minor part of the big architecture part, what version of large language model there is and so on. It's so much more about the whole like architecture, how you build it in a way that actually works. And for that is related the last point as well, that traditional software engineering skills are still in key role, because I mean, you do need all kind of new experience and competence when you build this kind of stuff, but in the end, it's still mostly about kind of solving traditional like a backend problems and plumbing and data management issues and making sure you follow like this kind of best practices in writing code and so on. So you need basically good software engineers. So those were the 10 lessons learned, and that was also the last slide. So I think we'll move forward then to the questions part, if anybody has any.
Thank you, Saas. I'll bring the microphone. Just raise your hand to ask a question.
Right, so thank you for the presentation. My name is Marko Jylilä. I come from All Access Services. So basically, about the interfaces then, so I according to the pictures that you showed, so let's say the architecture is quite complex and it requires quite many interfaces. So how often these interfaces are updated so that basically your system doesn't notice it, or how do you know that you are not using all the interface?
This is maybe an issue with interfaces to business systems, but typically those are like API interfaces, so they wouldn't normally just break down unannounced at least. So we haven't seen really an issue that we would have problems there. And of course, our like a main data source for the application is our own data warehouse, where we of course control everything. So that part is not an issue, that how we do that part. But yeah, we haven't seen like really problems in that area. In that one.
Thank you. And then another question, so related to these sort of different technologies related to AI in general. So how do you decide that what is the best technology to start with?
Well, I think it always depends on the use case, and it's good to discuss with people who actually have been in a lot of projects and have tried out different things. And of course, you should test things yourself as well as much as possible. But for example, in our case, we have relied now to some extent on, for example, Softlandia and expertise from many projects they have done. So I think normally it's a good idea to have some kind of like an architect, for example, in those discussions, that what this kind of makes sense to try with your specific use case and situation. No silver or bullets or anything like that, I guess.
Then the last and final question, so related to this security thing. So what if these companies, they have been, not now just coming from nowhere, but if they are disappearing to somewhere, so what happens in those cases? Are you still able to run the systems even though there is no possible support?
What kind of companies do you refer mainly?
I mean that, in general, these AI companies that are developing the technology behind them, these kind of things, so are you relying on those, or do you just need to get a sort of basic code, let's say, libraries from them, and that's enough then, and you don't need them anymore, or how does it work?
Like I said, I mean, we are currently not relying much on any of those like framework stuff. So we got rid of that. And then on the model side, I mean, we are building it so that we can change the model whenever needed. So we are not relying on any one specific model that much. Otherwise, there's not really that much like AI specific software. It's more about just writing the code that is kind of high performance code and works, and you don't like need any additional third parties there playing around and bringing you performance problems.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the talk. Interesting that you it's great what you building, not like a wrapper or like not selling AI shovels, kind of like something really deeply integrated AI. We're also doing the same, trying to do the same. I'm from Dollar Deploy. My name is Ruslan, and we're building the DevOps AI kind of thing. So I am interested. So the previous question was like, you said that you don't use any frameworks after LangChain, but how actually you do it? Do it like everything from scratch? I'm interested in this AI agent kind of implementation, how you do this, and the same maybe just to ask at the same time is this like a local model? So you use APIs, you use how like this prompts security, how you make sure that this data doesn't go like into the training models? That's it.
Yeah, I think the kind of current view on the kind of best practice is that if you use something like OpenAI, you would use like Azure in Europe, that at least somehow tries to guarantee that they don't use that in training that data or provide access outside of GDPR principles and so on. As for the actual like a detailed technology for the agents, I would probably let Softlandia guys tell all the details. I mean, it's not like I would be on that level, on technical level, that I would know the latest, what are the kind of potential, let's say, other third-party tools they are using there. There's one question there on the back.
Yes, I will bring the microphone. Regarding the frameworks in general, I think it's a very useful distinction to make. Is it a framework that you are kind of building your core logic on, or is it something that supports your software? So that there's a difference there.
All right, hi. It's just a quick question in terms of the models that you're using. Are you testing them out? Which ones are work best, and as they develop, do you continuously test them somehow to define like which ones work best with your application?
So that's actually one of the reasons why I mentioned these evals are mandatory, that we are currently putting quite a lot of effort that we get that framework in place so we can properly test whether they kind of actually bring concrete improvements or not if we change the model. But in our case, we haven't yet had time to really do a proper testing between all the different models. And one of the key reasons is that I mentioned that if you use fine tuning, it really slows your experiments down. So you cannot just jump from one model to another if you have went with the fine tuning route.
Fuad Kalhori from Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. My question is that how much do you pay attention to the AI technologies that you use? Are they European or non-European? Is it open source or closed source? And the second question is that have you been had challenges what comes in terms of regulation, be it local or, for example, the AI Act or Data Act? Thank you.
Currently, we haven't really put that much effort into whether the model is from US or Europe and so on. And currently, as mentioned, we use OpenAI, which is obviously like a US model, but we do, of course, want to provide it in a way in Europe that doesn't like conflict with any GDPR regulations and so on. And for your second question, it hasn't been really coming up to us as a topic. I don't think our application is kind of in that kind of area where it directly would kind of cause us to think about that topic that much.
Rasmus Nyberg from Ravedo. I would like to ask, go into detail about the email. I think it's one of the very, very really trust what the model says and what the model itself changes. You know, I am a bit uncomfortable.
Noni? Yeah, could you give a few examples about the evals and the learnings that you've had with that? Because going into the model might change without you even knowing it, and sort of how do you approach that? What can you teach us?
Well, I probably cannot teach you that much yet, as we are quite in early days. I have just now realized that they are mandatory, so I wanted to give you that as a learning. But I can say that we are using them currently as like a just human labeled things. So we have like thumbs up and down kind of things in the chatbot. So basically, it's possible to kind of rate those, and then we are looking for a set of like this kind of like a golden set of like results for certain queries and so on, and kind of ensure that the model returns correct results. And would like to highlight that in our case, the model really doesn't like hallucinate some wrong results in any cases, because all the data we show in the user interface come through our own API. So basically, it's not getting like formatted by the model anyway on the way to the kind of user interface. So in worst case, of course, the model might interpret the question wrong. So you ask for sales without VAT, and then we return sales with VAT, but it will kind of state in the user interface that this is now what you got. You got sales with VAT. Are you happy with that, or should we do another query?
I have one question, quick question. I think you're kind of an early adopter with the AI. So what do you think? What are the key reasons that made you go for it now and not like in 6 months or 1 year or whatnot?
For me personally, I've been following the space for a couple of years, but I think like 1 year ago during Christmas period, I spent the whole Christmas like just learning about everything. And then I thought that now we just need to start doing stuff in this area. And we started with the kind of very easy things, like first we just used it to translate language in our user interface, and then some simple chatbot on our website. And then we moved to kind of really like solving the text to SQL problem. And think I just thought 1 year ago already that, I mean, we just need to go into this. I mean, this is one of those like situations where you can see that, I mean, if you don't go into this, then you won't be around in like 5 years anymore as a very relevant player anymore. So we do what we can with our resources, and there's of course important that we had all the building blocks already, so it wasn't that difficult this decision for us, because most of the work is there in those building blocks that I showed, that all the data management parts and so on. That's the kind of difficult part to get working correctly.
All right. Thank you, Sasa. You will be around. You will be around here for conversations later tonight, so make sure to ask very tough questions from Sasa.
Yeah, I'll be around here.
Thank you. We're ready now to welcome Sami Kalli on stage. So let's hear from the CEO of Happy Signals.
All right. Hopefully my microphone works. Very good. So I will start my presentation by one video that you can see hopefully on the screen, which will tell you why our company exists. All right, hopefully that made sense to you. The corporate IT is not on its best. I think it's we all have better experiences in our civil life, but in corporates, people are not really understanding how people feel about IT and how we should in IT do decisions based on those feelings that the end users have globally. So that's kind of the key point. I will shortly present what we do. I will then show directly from the product what we have done with AI, and in the end, I will give you some other learnings that we have had during the time by implementing that. I would say that we are quite early compared to where we want to be with AI, but hopefully you will still get some good insights, hopefully, from my presentation that might make sense in the cases that you are involved with. All right, I think you can now see. So our company is 10 years old. We work with the biggest enterprises of the world. Our average customer has more than 10,000 employees. So we work with PepsiCo, Nestle, Wiley, IKEA, also big enterprises from here in Finland with Kesko, Metsä, and so on. We help the IT really to understand how the normal employees globally feel about IT and turn that to insights that they use in their IT decision making. What we really do is we measure all these different things they provide to their end users. And we do it exactly the same way with all companies. And this is quite interesting and important now when we come to the AI age. We know IT and should our AI, what we implement to the product, be able to have a bit more than public ChatGPT or something. Because we can say that, hey, this is 2 million people, how happy they are to different services. And when we measure this for any other customer, I can go to meet any CIO and telling, hey, you have problem with the laptops. This is not normal. Or you are doing very great service with your services provider here, but the things you should be changing are these. So we are giving them data to make better decisions in IT. And this is maybe something that sounds to you guys that this must have existed for years. Yeah, 10 years. Nobody else is doing it as us. The problem is that IT has been very good in measuring how technology works. So they know exactly what kind of processor you have in your laptop, how many memory chips you have and all that. They have no idea who are the users. But I have to tell you one thing. There are 2 industries that are calling their customers end users. Guess which they are? Enterprise IT and truck dealers. And I would say truck dealers know their customers better than IT. So that is what we help them to really understand. It's not enough that the servers are up and running. You have to create value with it. And that's why we help these enterprises to understand how happy people are and how efficient they are. So of course, the efficiency is the thing that gives the business case for our customers. But I'm not going today to the details of the product. But you need to understand before I show you how the product works, is that who we work with and what we measure for them. Because I think that is the biggest challenge we have had and will have with AI, that we want the AI to be able to do recommendations. Recommendations how these big organizations spend their money. And that is quite a huge step to give any responsibility in that area to AI, because they might be doing millions. This is that are maybe even changing the providers. Like one of our biggest customers changed their laptop provider based on the experience data. And that company has 300,000 employees. So you can think about how big of a value that deal that they move to another provider because of the data. So they might be like huge decisions they do based on this data or partly using this data. Of course, the price of those laptops was part of that decision as well. Very shortly said, what our product does. It measures those services. It has tools to share the data. It helps them to identify the meaningful problems to solve. And it helps them to celebrate the success and understand how the improvements have been. What they changed, did it really create any value? And now, what is the AI role here? It is not separate. It's all around the product. So we have now implemented a couple of things that I will show you next. The pink ones are the ones what we have done already. The black ones are the ones that are something that we really want to do. But first of all, we start to measure. We want to help, because we are doing everything survey-based. But we can use AI in those surveys to have more structure in the answers, making sure that we ask maybe additional questions based on what the people said using AI to get more insights to our customers. That is something that we might do next year. This is not this year's plan. So I'm very open today what we are planning to do. So hopefully my team is not going to hear this because they would be pressured. AI explanation data, that is something I will show you soon. So that what we really can already do in the product to help enterprises to understand the data gathered, because there is a lot of it. So biggest customers of ours, they do get like 1,000 feedback per day. So nobody's going to read that. And they might get that in 24 languages or 30 languages. So nobody's even understanding that without help of AI. So simple things that can be helped in the understanding and explaining the data. AI focus recommendation is a different level of a focus recommendation than what you should change. So we can tell you customers more easily that where they should be focusing on, where there is a minimum problem, where people are, for example, losing time. But to say what they should be changing in their way of working to get there is totally different level of a challenge. Benchmark report and then comparison to our benchmark. So when we do this exactly same way with everybody, AI could also analyze it, compare your data to the benchmark, and then give a summary of that. We even made one trial. We did give our benchmark report to one AI. I'm sorry, I don't remember what that was. That did a podcast about it. 2 people talking about the results. And I have been doing that for now 6 years with one of my team members every 6 months. And that was annoyingly good already, just giving it the PDF report and make it to speak about it. So let's see if we are at some point doing it with AI as well. But now I will stop this presentation and jump to the product. Hopefully the fonts are big and so on. So this is just the dashboard, but I will go through the things we added to the product in the order what we did, which makes sense, because I think that is the thing that you have to first understand what you are planning to do in overall. But there are certain quick wins that you can do, at least we did have. First one that we were comfortable of doing was using AI in what's positive, what changes have happened in the positive way. Because we didn't want to start this from pointing out what is problematic for them. We started from summarizing what are the good things that have happened now in the product so that they can a bit celebrate the success. This was first thing, or in fact, it was the second one if you calculate like translations to be something that is AI. But here was the next one that had a huge value for our customers. So what now AI does here, it summarizes the free text feedbacks. As said, there might be 1,000 of them per day. It summarizes the main things, or you can ask it to summarize it from the negative perspective. What is wrong with the service? What is good? And in our tool, if I here select whatever, let's say I'm only interested in one of the companies, then I understand very fast that what is wrong in that company compared to the others. And this feedback now that the people have written this feedback maybe in tens of different languages. The first test we did this one was that there was one guy in Nestle that was asked to analyze laptop feedback in Japan. He used about 1 week, did a summary, and we said, in fact, we have a trial version of the product, and we did the same with AI in 20 seconds, and it did have the same information. So that gave us a confidence that, yes, this works. But this makes our customers' time saved. They have more very easily understanding of what is going on in overall. After that, what we released was in here, experience page. This started to be the focus recommendation. So in our product, you can select whatever measurement area here, and then you come to this page, which has information about how happy people in different countries are, the different services. Or if I select, for example, here laptops, it might make even more sense to you guys than you can see here. These are the roles of the people in the organization. So it seems to be that product designers are not really happy. You are seeing how happy people are to different kind of laptop models. But what really happens on this page is that AI is here. So I can show this is a long page, a lot of information to understand. What AI does here is just summarizes this page. Shortly, what is going on, how much feedback we had, are we trending up, down, what made people unhappy, summary of that, device being too slow, and so on. Data insights, some data points from this page, and what is the magic here is that when I click this, of course, I did select nothing. We have to be careful that we don't show AI summaries if there is too few feedbacks. So let me take another area where yes, we set the limit in the beginning to 100 feedback. So very fast it comes in, even big organizations, that the summary says that we are not going to do the summary because we have to be careful on what we really say in the product. But here, if I want to understand that email, I just click that one, and now the summary is about the email service that seems to be the problem. So kind of, you can very easily deep dive to the things and understand what is wrong with the help of AI. And I think that is the kind of the summary of where we are currently with the product. Now we are going to implement cross-measurement area summaries with AI to the dashboard. So this is quite dull first page compared to what we are now planning to implement in the next coming months. But that's about the demo of the product. But the main thing here is that it has to be aligned with other things we want our customers to be able to, just helping them to do that faster. We don't see AI as a separate thing.
Just a quick question. Hope I just didn't miss it in the beginning. Did you use a proprietary AI or one of the Gen AIs? Which, when you say that the AI makes the summary,
so we are using Azure.
You're
And,
using-
yeah, we are using 100% Azure only currently, and that is because of our customer base.
Thank you.
It's when you are working with the biggest enterprises and the biggest IT providers of the world, it is easy to stay behind Microsoft. So we haven't added any other tools in the set yet, at least. Then when it comes to what we have learned, and I also said this partly, but what is our responsibility of the recommendations the AI does? Because when we go from that focus recommendation to really say that, hey, you should be changing things in here, if you just let AI do whatever, it might even give an instruction that, hey, you should be changing your employees from Sweden to Poland because they are then more happy. It doesn't make any sense. So we have to be really kind of on top of the things, what it does, and really test it before we put it out. And that kind of things is that we have to, and also, you can imagine when we are working with the biggest enterprises of the world, they are having projects of their own AI. They are implementing tools in this area heavily. That is giving a good, nice pressure to us, because of course the expectation is also that we do have AI here. And we even know from the biggest ones that when we implemented the first features, we were one of the first, or even the first product that had any AI features in their portfolio, because they are big and they are not fast and taking new tech in use. So they used our tool to get screenshots out of it to show this is what will happen with AI, even though we know that we are not yet even near to where we want to be. But our thinking is that we have to balance the people decision making and what the AI says, so that there will be maybe a way that this tool will give you that, hey, these might be the 10 things that you should be focusing on and do decisions, but then make the people on the platform rank them as well. We learn, and there has to be kind of a human decision before it becomes kind of a real decision in the organization. But this is something we are learning heavily currently. We are doing exactly this thing with Softland to kind of find the right balance in here. Technical challenge. There was already a question that have you have any challenges with the different like local things we have had, even with Azure. There is no one Azure AI. It is depending on the country and the server. So we are running 5 different locations with Azure because the customers they want to have the data in Europe, they want to have it in the US, they want to have it in the UK, they want to have it in Finland. So we have different Azure instances for that. And we did 2 weeks before release, we realized that, oh shit, UK has different laws and they didn't have the same functionality. So we had to go out with UK having less AI functionalities for some time. We were able to adjust that and make it so that now everybody is again having the same product, but be careful, it's not exactly the same everywhere. There are also legal stuff coming related to this one. So Germany is always, or at least I feel that Germany is always the hardest one. Workers' Council is something that is always bothering us, but also AI laws seems to be quite tight in there. So the only customer that have said that they cannot use AI is from Germany to us. And they said that it's because the security policies of those big enterprises are so hard. So we had to implement way of making AI switch. Is it off or is it on? In fact, this customer now will ask all their markets, so all countries, that they say, okay, in this case, it is okay to use AI, and we will be back on air with them with AI. But that was a surprise for us and this was one of our 10 biggest customers that called us that, hey, please, I know that it's valuable and I want to keep it, but I was said that we have to stop using your product, or can you deactivate it for some time? So be careful. But I would still say that when we are developing this kind of thing for those big organizations, we are collecting that feeling inside for them, but we have to take that seriously also in our customer base. So we have people that are really excited and they want to give all whatever responsibility to AI and test that. And then in the same companies, we have those people who kind of are interested, but are really, they want to have the control. AI can do recommendation, can do something, but it cannot go further than that. And this is something that we try to find in while developing things, having concepts, we test them with different kind of end user from our customer organizations. And you find the both ends in every customer of ours because they are the big ones. So you have those that are really, really AI savvy and loving it. And then you have people that are like, hey, please don't do it because it will start to give this and that. And we're trying to kind of push our excitement down. Then out of the product, I think there might be other founders here and other companies that are thinking about how to use AI. These are the very, very practical things we have done with AI that is more like our own efficiency rather than what is seen in the product. So we do create demo data with the help of AI. Like today, we had one demo to one of the biggest banks of the world. And our CTO did do some magic to create demo data that is according to structures, like the roles shown in the product are financial organization roles and so on. Because if you do think about the structure that I showed in the product, you have countries, you have locations, they have to match. And then you create demo data that has thousands of feedbacks from different time spans. It's quite a complicated thing to do manually. And now it has been quite nice to do that with AI. And when now tell our CTO that, hey, I want to have in this experience, I want to have this kind of drop so that I can tell a sales story. So we can do that in about 2 days now, compared to that we have to open the Excel files and think about manually adding feedback rows. So it's much easier. Our marketing is using AI quite a lot. So our way of creating content, which is the biggest way of getting like sales and inbound globally to us, is that we do like, first we do webinar or interview somebody in a face-to-face or sorry, video. We have a studio in the office. And we turn that with help of AI to other written contents. But we have realized that it's easiest for me and the other founders to just talk about things and get somebody to talk about some very interesting topic in the area. And then that is our input to the marketing team that please do it. And they are like, we had an interview with Nestle, one of their directors. And based on that interview, the AI created the content to our webpage very fast. And with quite good quality, I would say, better than average marketing person. And I love marketing. I don't want to put it like that. And also our marketing team is like, all the pictures you see in the presentation are AI. Okay, founders, maybe not, but other pictures that I've used. But they look like our brand. So they have a category of how to do things in the happy signals way in marketing. So they had a training on that one. We do also check agreements because when, again, working with the huge enterprises, we do use our template about 50% of the time, and then we might get a 100-page long agreement proposal. So we first put that in the AI that compare this to our own template. What are the biggest differences to squeeze in the process time? We started to do this first with NDAs, and then now we are doing this also for the big agreements to just make it more error-free to check those. And we have trained our leadership team so that everybody understands that these are basics and are using and making it possible for the teams to learn as well. Yeah, but that was what I had in my mind to share with you. Hopefully that was interesting enough. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Marko Jyllä from All Excel Services. So thank you very much for the presentation. It was a really interesting one. The only thing that you didn't touch was the pricing. What are the pricing impacts? And you were mentioning that you have a possibility to turn it on and off, and it practically means that there can be also a price tag because of that. And you can say to each customer that, are you willing to have this or not?
We are currently running pricing and packaging project, and I can answer you in 2 months.
Okay,
so
no
currently
worries.
it is all included. We have a very, very simple pricing model, so it's exactly the same price for everybody based on employees and base price, and there is no package. So everything is always included. But that is something we are now questioning and changing. But yeah.
An easy let's say, Apple to pick up?
Yeah, we have those other features as well that you can drop out from the product. So we have
I see.
ability to do different levels, but yes, currently not doing that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you. A wonderful presentation. Do you think the biggest benefit for your clients is sort of like a do or die kind of a thing where the top management might get fired if the IT is not good enough? Or is this more of a efficiency gain that they have been collecting this data, but there's just a lot faster and cheaper way of collecting it?
So they haven't been collecting the data, or they have also kind of very small parts of it, or they might be doing yearly surveys, which is then just a snapshot once a year or twice, maximum twice a year. And if you really are releasing new versions of different products and developing and investing millions to developing services, that one snapshot once a year is not giving you any real insights and understanding for those projects. But I think there was Vesa Erolainen from Metso who was talking in our happy user group, which is of course Huck in the happy signals. He said in the end of that, if he wouldn't have happy signals, he said, I think I would have been fired a long time ago. But that is very like CIO that is very up in there. He has been working with us now in 2 companies for 7-8 years. But it's still in most organizations, this is something that is growing from the champions upwards. So yes, there are CIOs that are pushing and they understand this. But the thing is that they, very shortly if I try to explain, the traditional IT is measuring things in your laptops and networks and so on. When they go to meet business and reporting how many tickets we had last month, is that interesting to business? No, not at all. So they have to now start to change their way of working because it's not anymore enough. And all of them are losing budgets. One reason being AI. They're expected to be able to leverage that more and get the cost down. So they have to be able to show that they are creating value more than ever before. Otherwise, they are going to be kicked out. And in that discussion, when you are able to talk the business language, it makes much more sense. Like Valio CIO said to me once that, can you somehow implement me an application that I can check under the table when the business is eating lunch with me and saying my service is crap? I don't want to have 1 month old Excel and try to defend. I want to have data from today. And those are kind of the real pain points that these guys are having. And that was the 10 years ago why I founded this company. I met 10 frustrated IT leaders that was like, I'm meeting my providers, everybody is showing green lights, everything should be okay. Then I meet business and your service is crap. And like, yeah, what to do? But they are measuring wrong things. But that is still ongoing change that they are going through.
Thank you.
We can take a few more questions and then we'll...
I'm very thankful that nobody has asked any technical questions because I wouldn't be able to do it.
I think what you just said was very interesting. Like you have a lot of data, but do you feel that AI makes it more actionable? Or what is kind of the biggest value gain here?
I think that is the thing. It is even per customer, but I see that we are able as a company with help of AI leverage that benchmark because we have been doing it exactly the same way now 10 years. So there is a lot of understanding what works in IT and what doesn't. And it's very hard to understand how things are related, for example. And now when being able to follow different customers and what they have done to see the achievement, how things change, that is the strength that in some point we are able to leverage AI in a way that we can use all the data from our history to help them to do better decisions. And that is like we know IT. And that's why I'm not so afraid, because some of our customers, of course, they are taking data out of our product, taking all the feedback and giving that to other AI tools to have a summaries. But the thing why we believe that we can do it better is that we do have the exactly same data model for our customers. That is our strength and will be the thing that will be making us different from the other AI tools that might be coming to the market. So that structured data behind AI, of course, we do have issues in how structured it is, but in a big level, it is very well structured. All right, thank you. I will be here. So if anybody wants to ask something later on, so please come and chat.
Thank you, Sami.
Yes. Okay. Mikko will bring me laptop. We will a little bit recap on some of the topics presented in the beginning, but very quickly, a couple of thoughts about why I think you guys are very, very important part of the whole European business scene, and I mean to each other as well, is that first of all, the biggest challenge typically for any AI implementation, what we know everybody, is the data. And that's problem for, especially for big companies, and problem for a lot of, enterprises, etc. But if you're working in SaaS, you own the data. So you should not be too much worried about that. And you should be the ones who have the data. And if that was the big bottleneck, you're on the bright side. That was solved because you own the data. Second, we are a very small country, and most likely most of you don't compete. So it's actually a very nice idea to share and learn and go out from Finland and win the customers from there. If you compete directly, don't share the secrets, but share something that you can share. But I've seen this happening with the games companies earlier in Finland, that a lot of games companies share the experience, what to do in their business with the products, with the customers, etc. So you can help a lot each others do that. Now, then a little bit about the topic. So I was asking before the event, some of you have answered, quite many actually answered. These are not the original questions, but I try to make summaries. What were the interest points? So there was like 5 major topics. How should I think about AI? What should I like AI or not? What should not be AI? What should be AI? What are the steps? What about the like how big should I go in? When? Or what are the investors saying? So I have handwritten papers on tables. The first table is for those who are interested to talk about the strategy part and the money part. So Timo from Vendep, for example, might be on the first table. Second table would be around product value, customer values, product strategy type of things. And you don't need to follow these questions. Just present what you have done or what you think and ask from the others. And as we go along, there's a third table, and then there are 2 tables back around the sofas. And there's UX and features and the quality, for example, the evals, what Sasa was talking. I think actually that was even the last table standing out there. Then architecture data, like there was somebody asking, should I use third-party software or frameworks or whatever? Or what was your experience with something you did, good or bad? So that's back there, and then the compliance stuff, the last table. So next, before going to the tables and having the snacks, still one thing, and that would be simple vote considering the next event. So, and people online, please just vote which of these topics would be the most interesting. So today we have been maybe a little bit more on this level, like the product strategy, implementation, or AI or not. We can continue on these, or we can forget these and go to the others. So just simply, you can raise your hand in like multiple ones, but let's try to calculate simply how many are interested in this broader picture about continuing about the AI implementation and strategy part. Hands up now. So it's around 10, 15 max, and Matti will collect from the stream. And then product strategy and value, hands up, little less. Okay, I say 7-ish. UX features, quality type of thing, 5-ish. Architecture, data, output, quality topics, 10-ish. Security, compliance, legal stuff, boring, very risky, hands up, 3-ish. Okay, so this will not be the final decision on the topics. You may send as well your wishes in the feedback form. We are asking feedback, but we will take this into consideration. Would be, of course, very nice if you have a very good case story from your side. Please let us know. We will prep and help if you need ideas. Anyway, if we don't get other feedback, we will act based on this. And of course, hope to see you in the next event as well. Mikko, do you have anything to add before going to the snacks and discussions and the networking part?
Pretty much all good. Thank you. Ilma, you can reach us, you know how. I think we are ready to thank people online and close the stream and continue here.